Hey, it's the iPod Touch Guys 1 doing a movie review on a classic horror movie, The Mummy from 1932. Now, this movie started pretty much everything related to The Mummy. It didn't have any sequels, and, what the hell? I don't know what that was. But, it did start a very big trend. I already reviewed the 1999 movie, The Mummy, which if you've seen the review of that, you know it's one of my all-time favorites. Now this one actually, I like the 1999 one better, but that doesn't make this one bad at all, because this one's pretty good, honestly. Plus, if it started one of your favorite movies, you should like it, but I'm kind of rambling here, so this movie starred Boris Karloff as the Mummy, and he was a perfect choice for the role. Now, the movie starts off with an expedition in 1921 in Egypt that had found the coffin of the mummy Imhotep with Karloff inside of it. Now, they also found this casket with a curse on it for death that said death to anyone who opens it, just like in the 1999 one. So, the older archaeologist and then a young archaeologist both do not believe in the curse. But there's another one there that does believe in the curse and tries to persuade them not to open the box. So the older archaeologist and him go and talk while the younger one stays inside to catalog, but instead he opens up the casket. And inside was a scroll. So the young man opens up the scroll, and the scroll was actually very beautiful. It looked really good, even in black and white. So anyway, the scroll is a life-giving scroll. So the guy decides to read from the scroll, and little does he know that he's bringing Imhotep back to life. He is resurrected and walks out of the coffin and takes the scroll with him, leaving behind like dust basically of his handprint where his hand touched the table. And the young man basically goes insane, starts laughing. And when the older archaeologist comes back, he says one of my favorite lines in the movie, that he went for a little walk, referring to Imhotep. Anyway, that young man dies laughing in a straitjacket. He was like put in a mental hospital or something. So the film gets off to a good start, and then 10 or 11 years later, there is another expedition going on searching for a tomb, and this man comes forward. The leader of the expedition's name is Frank, and I don't remember the name of the other guy, but anyway, this guy comes forward calling himself Ardith Bey, but the two men did not know that Ardith is Imhotep unwrapped in human form, basically. It's kind of weird when you think about it, how his body would stay perfectly preserved underneath the wrapping for 3,700 years. But that's just a minor flaw. So, he claims that he knows where the tomb of Ankhsunamun is, and he says that he will lead them to it. So they agree to the deal and go with him. But as soon as they find it, he disappears. And then when the find is very famous, it is put in newspapers and everything. But then Ardith comes forward again at the museum, kind of staring at the mummy of the princess who he wants to resurrect because they were lovers back in ancient times. So he wants to resurrect her and figured getting it in a museum was the easiest way to do it. So he finds Frank again, and Ankhsunamun has a living reincarnation named Helen. So, and she, like, falls under this curse that Imhotep puts forward. So she goes to the museum, and Imhotep finds her. But then he is stopped from going forward with his evil plan to bring Ankhsunamun back. his plan is to kill Helen so that he can put the soul of Aang Sunamun into her body, and so he puts another spell on her, but Frank and his father are now onto him, and they're trying to prevent her from leaving, but then Imhotep kind of strangles through some sort of magic Frank, who's keeping watch on Helen, and so she walks away, and Frank doesn't die, and Imhotep basically takes Helen to his lair to kill her and then bring her soul back. So he shows her what happened after she died in ancient times, where she was buried, and then kind of goes back to the present. So once again he tries to kill her, and this time he almost succeeds, but Frank and his father find him. And then she kind of snaps out of the curse and starts talking to the statue of one of the gods, which lights up the whole room. Its arm moves forward and it lights the whole room up. And the scroll of life cannot take the heat in the room, so it burns, and that basically kills Imhotep, and he decomposes just right there. So that's it for the movie, and I want to get into how beautiful everything is in this movie, even in black and white. There's the shot of the museum, that shot of Karloff staring right at you, and then Imhotep getting mummified alive, and then the spear through the guy, which could be the first impalement ever shown, so that's something to remember this movie for, if nothing else. But overall, this is not a long movie. It is 72 minutes, because the older movies were pretty short, so if you don't like it, you don't lose that much time of your life, I guess, to be dramatic about it. But I do think this is a good movie, and so do a bunch of other people. So I do have to recommend this movie, and I am going to give it a 7 out of 10 and 3.5 stars out of 5.